What's up, kid? Hector Rico here again today. And today, my discussion will eventually lead to the topic of Alex Rodriguez and Ben Affleck and how each man handles Jennifer Lopez. Okay? This one's going to be long and drawn out, so be patient because it's going to be kind of scattered all over the place. Okay, guys, let's give you a brief history lesson about marriage. Okay? At some point, a couple hundred years ago, what marriage really was like, let's say there was like a bloodline that needed to stay pure. So they married within each other to keep that bloodline pure. Or let's say there was a really wealthy family and wealth married into wealth. Um, what you guys are not seeing is, for the most part, well, you don't really see it too much in Western civilization, but you'll see it in Eastern civilization. They have arranged marriages. The key word here is arrangement, because ultimately, I mean, a marriage contract is like a business contract. Right? And they have these arranged marriages, and I mean, they work out. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. And, but yeah, it was none of this falling in love nonsense. Okay? If you ever actually lived with a girl, after about 2 or 3 days, you'll realize that the old saying is true. Love is overrated. I'd rather have respect. You guys probably aren't old enough to realize it yet, but here in America, roughly every 10 years or so, there's going to be something that's designed to destroy the nuclear family. There's going to be something that's going to hurt women, and there's going to be something that's going to hurt men, but that's the goal, is to destroy the nuclear family. Lately, it's been going viral over and over again, like all these memes of Ben Affleck with Jennifer Lopez. I mean, he looks defeated. He looks exhausted. Like he really doesn't know what he got himself into, and it's like that for a reason. There's several reasons. But first, let's rewind it back about a year or two ago. Jennifer Lopez was with Alex Rodriguez, A-Rod, the baseball player. I mean, it doesn't, like, you see those photos, you compare and contrast them. Why is it that A-Rod could handle Jennifer Lopez, but Ben Affleck can't? I mean, it's as clear as day. I mean, because A-Rod is Latino, Ben Affleck is white. I don't care if somebody's from Honduras, from Ecuador, Chile, Guatemala, Mexico, Spain. If you got rice and beans on your table at dinner time, you're Latino. And Spanish, Castilian, Spanish, whatever you want to call it, it's only slightly different, like from one country to the next. But we all know what's up. In the Latino community, all these things are just inherent. You guys call them red pills. To us, we never left 1950. To us, we liked Eisenhower's America, where it promised you a white picket fence and 2 cars in every garage, and we just wanted to keep it that way. And that's how all these Latin American countries just are. Cuba would be a good example, because once America cut them off, they just kept all those cars from the 50s. You'll see some crazy cars over there, and they're all made out of cold rolled steel. Another weird thing, if you ever noticed, I mean, it's just some cultural thing, but most Latin American countries are seriously into baseball. Mm-hmm. I want you to really look at I want you to really look at Jennifer Lopez's relationship with A-Rod. If you look at any other photos, right, where they're together, what is the big time, like, the obvious difference between A-Rod and Ben Affleck is that no matter what, A-Rod is calm, cool, and collected. He doesn't care what mood swing that J-Lo's going to throw at him. He's ready for anything. And you'll even notice J-Lo looks way more submissive with A-Rod than she'll ever look with Ben. To me, that sticks out big time. I mean, A-Rod is calm, cool, and collected, and J-Lo practically looks like this submissive, feminine little kitty cat playing with a ball of yarn. And then you saw that meme where Ben Affleck, it looks like he's smoking 3 or 4 packs a day. His hair turned all gray. He can't stand her. He's like, he really, I could explain that too, but I mean, that photo just, it really got to me. There was some TikTok video where they were like slamming the car doors or just something or other, and it wasn't violent. It just looked like he's at his wit's end. All right, you guys, check this one out. I'm gonna tell you a story but it is relevant to this conversation. Okay, William Shakespeare wrote this play called Taming of the Shrew. In it, it's pretty much a Sigma male that everybody knew could handle this one woman that nobody has ever stood up to, that everybody's all terrified of, but they knew the Sigma male could get the job done. And if you really want to see a cool version of it, one of my favorite versions is the one with Elizabeth Taylor. I love that version of the Shakespeare play. It's a movie, but try to find the one with Elizabeth Taylor. And then the modern day version, well, for me, I mean, it was like one of my favorite teen movies growing up. And I'll just level with you. Sometimes this movie might be necessary evil. Because I assure you, no girl can make it to the end of this movie without crying. I think it's called 10 Things I Hate About You. And Heath Ledger plays the Sigma male. And the blonde girl, I forget her name, I think that was like her biggest hit, that movie. But it's basically the same thing as Taming of the Shrew. That 10 Things I Hate About You, I mean, I think that movie was like, just like a masterpiece. Heath Ledger's character was just perfect. Like, he's so iconic in that movie. I recommend you go check that out. And don't be evil. Don't just be showing that movie to your girlfriend because she'll cry her eyes out. Okay? You guys, look, a big thing is like, you got to be stoic. You got to be stoic because I'm not saying, no, women are not unpredictable. But like, you'll notice like, they live differently than men, big time. Just be patient, okay? When I say be stoic, don't be emotional. She's looking at you Like, you got to be this pillar, this unshakable pillar. Basically, this is how stoic you need to be. Imagine, like, you're at a funeral and she's going to be crying her eyes out on you, or she's going to go from different emotion to different emotion. And you're going to have to stay stoic. That's how being stoic, because she's going to test you. She's going to test you, and you could tell, like, A-Rod was passing all the tests because he stayed calm, cool, and collected. Ben Affleck is failing all the tests. And the weird part is, like 20 years ago, they were actually almost married. This time they are married. So you'd have figured, like, he'd have an idea of what it's like to be in any kind of relationship with her, and he's still acting like this. Mood swings are nothing. Mood swings will come and go, and you don't even notice them after a while. Let me give you this piece of advice. Just like Taming of the Shrew, just like 10 Things I Hate About You, I'm convinced that every Sigma male has had to have that Bronco Buster relationship with some woman like that no guy has ever stood up to, that guys fear, but for whatever reason, the Sigma male actually got into a relationship with that girl. And freaking, just like Taming of the Shrew, got the girl to calm down. And he did it by the skin of his teeth. He just barely did it. Okay? And then after that girl, everything else looks like a walk in the park. No other girl will ever face him. And I must have done that at least twice that I could remember. And it used to be, I had friends that would like try to set me up with a girl like that. They're like, I know someone who could handle her. Bring Big Heck to Rico. And it's like, the last time one of my friends did that, he knew it would have been really amusing. He knew it would have been really amusing. And the girl knew I could handle her. And that's why she decided she knows better. She's not going to even test me or nothing. And she's like, nah, I guess I'll pass this time. Bro, you want a red pill? I'll give you a red pill. Mood swings are nothing. Like that joke that Chris Rock says, he's like, why is your girlfriend or wife, why is she giving you the silent treatment? For distance and irritation. That's nothing either. About the worst thing a woman could do to you, I kid you not, and some of you know what I'm talking about. Every now and then, for no reason, or maybe you've escaped this, and you should be like counting your blessings. But every now and then, every so often, you'll bump into a girl that's holding on to a grudge. And not only is she holding on to a grudge, but it's usually something that she did. Like it's actually her fault. But she's holding on to a grudge with some other powerful enemy or something or other. And she doesn't want justice. She doesn't want revenge, like normal revenge. She's not going to rest until she plays out this revenge movie that she has in her head, even though that's never going to happen. And no matter how much you reason with her, no matter how much you tell her that's impossible, that's never going to happen, she's just going to keep holding on to this grudge forever. And you're going to have to hear about it morning, noon, and night. And that's going to drive you nuts, and you're going to dump her because of it. Kid you not. That's about the worst thing a girl could do to you. Like, be grateful that you're not living through that nightmare. Okay? I'm not even going to lie. When I was watching A-Rod and Jennifer Lopez, everybody was cheering them on. Because they're both from New York. They're both Latinos. It's like, Jennifer Lopez really did break that glass ceiling. She really did break a glass ceiling. Nobody else could have done what she did before. But ultimately, and you'll see this every now and then, it's rare, but it happens, like, she lost her instinct to depend on a man. It happened to that other woman too, that Elizabeth Taylor, like Tammy of the Shrew. That's why she fit that character so perfect, because that was her in real life. Both of them got married like a ridiculous amount of times. No guy could control them. And for better mental health, he had to get the divorce. And, what's it called? If you really notice it, I'm not even exaggerating. Like, the Spanish news is always covering it. When A-Rod left, Jennifer Lopez's daughter, like, she went from being like this glamorous, like, pop star looking little teenager. All of a sudden, she looks like a homeless man. Like, she did all that just to spite her mom. And Jennifer Lopez had to put on the fake pop star face and act like, oh, nothing's wrong. But you could tell she hates it. It's driving her nuts. And, I mean, I could understand why the daughter did that. I mean, she must have been a big Yankees fan. And then she drove A-Rod's leave. But yeah, man, stop. You gotta be stoic. You gotta be stoic in this life. You gotta be double tough. You really do. I'm telling you, you don't know what life is gonna throw at you, man. You just don't. And, like, I'm not gonna lie to you, when I said that stuff about, like, treat it like an arranged marriage, because it's true. When I hear those words, I always think about that country western movie. It was either Wyatt Earp or Tombstone. It was one of those two movies. And in it, there's this bartender. And the bartender, he's like just going about his business, polishing up glasses and stuff. And somebody tells him something stupid, because he's married to a prostitute that works in a brothel. And the bartender, he's just like, not even fazed by it. And then he's like, oh, I guess you want a reaction. Okay, I'll tell you something. He's like, hey, you guys hear that? I'm losing sleep at night because this guy has a problem with my arrangement. Like I said, the key word is arrangement. Like, the bartender, he gets all the respect he could ever ask for. Why else would he care about what anybody else has to say about what goes on in his personal life? Arrangement. It's kind of weird. They used to say chivalry's dead, and nowadays, slowly but surely, they're starting to say relationships are transactional, which they are. Basically the same thing as chivalry. Like, I'm not stupid, dude. I know how pagan that Mexico is. I know what's in my DNA. It isn't just me. I've seen, like, they call it the fiery Latino. A lot of these Latin American countries have a lot of pagan roots. Our ancient ancestors were like these real bloodthirsty pagans. It's crazy. And all that stuff you hear about, the stereotype about like machete fights and knife fights and stuff, that's not a lie. I've seen crazy stuff like that. And like I said, the Latino community, the Latino culture, there's this deep sense of community. Like, it really goes back. It's like like, it's hard to describe, but if you really look at like a biblical marriage, a marriage is like a tool that would help you become more stoic. You're supposed to use it as a tool to help you, like, forgive your wife and be patient with her and stuff. All that stuff you see, like, in a wedding where, like, the dad gives away his daughter, from now on, you're basically her dad, dude. You've seen crazy criminals, like, They got out of jail and their face looks like really wrinkly. They look really crazy. The same thing with war veterans. That used to be the case with like married men. I had gone to this church when I was a child. There was like 4 or 5 guys that looked like Charles Bronson. But just like Alex Rodriguez, I mean, just like A-Rod, all those guys were calm, cool, and collected, and their wife really respected them. Nowadays, like, they call it sports science, they call it this and that. It's like nobody ages anymore because nobody's getting married no more. But it sticks out to me, like, a lot of stuff I see, like, in, like, the Latino community, and, but yeah, man, just come what may, man, like, just take it in stride. Just take it in stride. Don't let anything faze you. I kid you not. You'll be surprised how far you'll get with a woman if you just play it calm, cool, and collected. That's like, those are stories for a different time. But I just wanted to explain to you guys what it is you're looking at when you see all that crazy stuff with Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez. I mean, I was using like I've just barely noticed all that stuff like this past couple days. Like, ultimately, I understand why A-Rod had to leave. No matter what, man, you can't put a price tag on peace of mind. That's why I love trucking so much. No matter what wrong things happened that day, it could have been a snowstorm, it could have been like this crazy thunderstorm. To me, that's just the life I chose, to be a trucker. And I get peace of mind living in that 18-wheeler. I just do. That's just me. You have to take the good with the bad. I'm just like extra patient. A lot of other truckers couldn't figure it out. Like, why are you so patient? I just am. Because it gives you peace of mind to live in that truck. Like, I could only imagine what A-Rod really had to like put up with. Because at that point, when you're like I said in the beginning of the video, wealth marries into wealth. But he couldn't do business transactions with her no more. He just couldn't. He couldn't be around her because he knew, like, he plays the long game. You know what I mean? He plays the long game. He's like, where is this really going to be like in 5 or 10 more years? And he couldn't trust J-Lo. You really do want peace of mind at the end of the day. You don't want an abusive relationship. You don't want to go home and like, there's all this hostility there, all this negative energy. It's like, nobody needs bad things anymore. I'm telling you, like, the mental health problems that people have nowadays, it's nothing compared to like 10, 15 years ago. They were like 2 or 3 times as worse. I really don't know how a lot of people could just live like that, but they do. I have a lot of other examples and stories and stuff, but they don't really go along with what I was telling you in this video. But yeah, the next time you get a chance, really study like those photos of like A-Rod with Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez. And you'll see how far calm, cool, and collected will get you. Okay? All right, everybody. God bless you all. I'm Hector Rico. Don't forget to hit like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thanks for viewing.